'Twas the night before X, and the mansion was locked. Not a mutant was stirring, not even a Morlock. The students were all tucked tight in their beds, while the visions of X genes danced through their heads, and Xavier in his kerchief and Scott in his cap had settled in for a long winter's nap. When what to our wondering ears should we hear but a Wolverine's growl laden with cheer? I'm the best at what I do, Logan said with a grin, and what I do is bring presents for good mutants within. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Atomic Mass Transmissions Live Holiday Fun Episode. I'm Lashik, and I thought today, on our last stream of 2020, that we do something a little fun, and I have with me the Holiday Cheermeister, the man of the hour, the one who brings all the presents to good mutants and boys, Wolverine. So today, we're going to have some fun with our friend Logan James Howlett, and we are going to paint him up in his Santa Claus outfit. So let's get this camera off of me, jump on to Logan, and let's have some fun on our last one of the year. Thank you all for joining us over the last 12 months. It's been quite a ride, and we've loved every minute of it. It's been so fun getting to hang out with you all every week, and it's just been a good time to hang out, paint, learn some stuff, and let's go. So, to kick things off, I've already primed my Logan. I also made him a Santa Claus sack, just using some blobs of green stuff and a bit of my thumb putty work. You can see it's a little rough, but that's okay. We're just going to have some fun today. So with that in mind, let's start with the red suit. So for our red, we're actually going to be using our Model Air from Vallejo. You've seen us use this a couple of times before. One of the great things about this color is that it's already thinned down, so it makes an incredibly good wash right out of the bottle. You barely even have to thin it down. Gives us a really nice red base coat to work from, and of course, anyone who's bringing presents to the X Mansion is going to have to put on the right suit. So today Logan will be wearing his suit. My plan really is to do a very classic Wolverine coloring. So we have the stripes here, the 2 stripes on the side. For a total of 6 stripes, we're going to do those white. So we're just going to be a little careful with our wash as we start going in there. We're going to try to avoid the places that we want to be white as much as possible. And that will make our job easier once we go back to highlight those. We're, of course, going to give him a little bit of an older appearance. We'll mess with the hair. We'll do it in a white, befitting of Chris, what could we call him? Chris Claus? Something like that. Santa Claus with a CLAW. For the moment, we're just going to run this in. You can see I'm just using that Zenith Prime to allow the red to really take the highlights. And again, this is going to be a great way to kind of speed through these reds, get a nice foundation down, and then we can use some more extra washes, or we can go back in and 2-brush blend in some shadows and some shades and really get some quick results. They're going to look really nice on this holiday festive Wolverine. Hope you all have been having a wonderful December, that you've been staying happy and warm, and that your holiday is either has happened or is coming around the corner, and that you've been able to do your best in the 2020 season to stick around and hang out with family and friends in the safe ways that we have available to us, depending on what's going on. Of course, we're all very excited for next year and the limitless possibilities of the new year, at least for those of us who celebrate New Year's in the next couple of weeks. Don't have anything super special planned. I'm looking forward to the break. Many of my compatriots are already on a well-deserved break. I think some of them might be watching out there already. But I just wanted to, in this time of hanging out at the office / still my laundry room, with everybody kind of quiet and away, I thought it would be fun to do one last stream. We showed off some really great stuff yesterday. Josh, BK, and John have so much cool stuff planned for next year. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do for all of the different games as we move forward. We have some really awesome stuff planned, some fun events that we're working on for next year as well. Some cool stuff to put on the web, like we did this year between Ultimate Encounters and everything else for MCP. Working on stuff for the other game lines as well. We've expanded the team, making all new friendships, and man, it's been a crazy close of the year, but it's been a lot of fun. It has been an immense amount of fun. So thankful to get to do what we do, to hang out with you all, just have fun, and enjoy everything. Wolverine, I think we're gonna do this today. We're gonna give him sleeves. I know that might be a little blasphemy, but you know, Santa Claus wears sleeves. It gets cold, so we're gonna go full sleeves on our Wolverine today. Not showing the gun. Yeah, I believe the final count was 61 characters for the year. That's pretty good, pretty good. So we definitely got through a chunk of the Marvel Universe. We've got a lot more to go. Already been teasing things for next year, so everyone can see like all the stuff to get excited about. We obviously had the Deadpool trailer showing off the second wave of mutants. We had the really fun spoiler from Josh and BK yesterday for what to expect also in 2021. Some teasers there, some very exciting and off-requested characters that are coming our way. Have a couple of them actually on the airbrush station behind me because I got to do some tests and stuff and check them out. I always like to put them through their paces. So it'll be a little bit before those start popping up. Of course, we start in the year with Angela, She-Hulk, and Enchantress, who we spent all of December painting, which was a super blast. All right, I'm going to let that red dry. We're going to switch over and we're going to do the blacks. So I'm just going to grab some Abyssal Blue because I really like this black from scale. It's like a nice blue-black. It'll play well with our reds because blue and red, everybody likes that combination. And we're going to go, so there's a lot of differences on, you know, white gloves, black gloves for Santa Claus. It's always black boots, black belt. We're going to go ahead and just do the black gloves. So we're going to have the nice thick leather gloves for our Wolverine here. Standing behind Mysterio on the Brooklyn Bridge chess piece. The X-Men, no one was standing behind Mysterio. No one was standing behind him. He was on the bridge though. He was actually on the bridge. He was hanging out with his spider villain compatriots. But yep, I think with that, in fact, no, I'm positive. Some folks, all the folks that were hidden on that bridge scene have now been revealed at this point. So, right? No, nope, I lied. There are still a couple that you haven't seen yet. Aha! Secrets. Secrets. I thought all of them had. There's one character, I think. If I remember that. If I remember setting that thing up correctly, there's one last character that hasn't been shown yet. Soon. It's coming. It's coming. But that was a lot of fun. Just kind of gives you an idea of how far in the future we kind of live our lives and have these things in process. It's a weird place to live. Be thinking, you know, almost 2 years ahead from what you're releasing and then getting to see that stuff come out and be like, oh yeah, look at that. That's really awesome. Super exciting. Super exciting. Do I use a wet palette? I don't use a wet palette actually. I have in the past, but I typically don't just because I just don't have one nearby. I liked it when I used it. I find that being in the Pacific Northwest, typically the moisture in the air is enough to make everything work. When I lived in like Montana, where it's a bit drier, I often found myself utilizing that wet palette a bit more because my paints would dry out faster. But when it comes to being in the Seattle area and stuff, I just kind of moved out of using it. I stopped using it. I was like, oh, I don't really notice the difference. Dallas, I know, uses one heavily. And they do have their benefits, especially if you're doing a lot of color mixing and stuff, or if you need a lot of working time with your paints. I should probably get back into using one again. I bet I'd be like, oh, life-changing. Look at it. Look how much easier it is. Everything stays working longer and so fantastic. I don't know. Sometimes I'm going to make his shoulder pads black too. Sometimes you just fall in and out. And I'm going to pull them back on the camera so everyone can see what we're doing. Whoopsies. That happens. Oh yeah, spilling the paints. It happens. I almost never get away. I never get through a week without spilling something, at least once. That's why I keep my big trashy like kids craft brush nearby, and then when I spill, I can like sop it all up and put it back into the pot as much as possible. Spilling liquid gold there. I don't want to waste paints, but I did reorganize my painting station to kind of make that less likely to happen, so that was pretty exciting. And has made a big difference. Just gonna lay down these blacks, and it's okay if they're a little sploochy right now. I made a little bit of a mistake right here, so I'm just going to grab this brush, and you can see mistakes are not a big deal. You just grab that cleaner brush and you can just scrub that right away. Made a big one over here because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. In the throes of holiday excitement, I'm like jacked up on Christmas candy already. So much candy in this house. Ugh. It's like everywhere. I can't help myself. I have no control, no willpower. I love sweets. All right, let's just hit the belt. And there. Belt. So I need to go back through. I don't think we're going to give him Santa underwear. We're not going to do the underwear look. See, I had a little bit of a spill right there, so I'll just grab my blending brush and clean it off. If you're not using a secondary clean brush to use as a blender and a scrubby brush to clean up mistakes, absolutely number one first suggestion I would make is learn how to dual wield. I like to keep my secondary brush in my mouth, which is why I probably sound funny. I mean, I also just sound funny. That's okay. I can accept that about myself, but it makes you feel like a painting Rambo in a way. You know, he's got that brush between your teeth ready for action at any point you need it. Hiya! Let's do it. All right, let's go back in here. Just gonna grab my red. Bring it in there. There we go. I suppose we gotta decide, like, is the Santa sack also red? Sometimes it is. Or is it like a brown or black? What are we feeling? I don't really know. These are the decisions I can't make right now. I'm so close to done. I'm so tired of decisions. Yeah, it's been a phenomenal year. It's been so fun working with Dallas and Josh and Pagani, Marco, Evan, Jesse, Melissa. An amazing team, and like such an amazing new team now. We've grown and gotten so much great new experience, and man, like I'm just so excited for where this team's going to go, what we're going to do. It's been awesome watching the community. I can't wait to get back to painting challenges and posting up, the winners from the Spooky Challenge and all the way in October, and the Blue and Gold Challenge for November, and giving you all some new challenges because we just love seeing what you all do out there when it comes to paints and painting. I'm going to grab a little bit of Ishtar Pink, and we're going to hit up the face now while we wait for our other colors to dry. We'll mix a little bit of Basic Flesh from the other scale color in there, because Ishtar is pretty peachy, but you know, Santa's got that rosy cheek and red nose, so we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna make Senior Logan look a little jolly, maybe, just as jolly as he can look. But it all starts with kind of this first little look. So we're just come in, do our best to avoid the eye socket. That pretty clean. Especially working with skin tones, going back to kind of the wet palette, I think that really is where I feel it the most. Most of flesh tones have a pretty quick drying time. I don't know if it's the colors or what. All right, so there's our first layer of skin down. A green present sack. I don't think I've ever seen a Santa with a green present sack. I mean, it would be pretty festive, though. They spilled first wash. Dallas is right. They did spill first wash. Okay. Let's think about where we want to go next on this fine fella. We're going to grab that Abyssal Blue again. We're going to grab some of this. No, I don't want navy blue. What do I want? I want this. I'm going to grab some Anthracite Gray, and we're going to mix it into that Abyssal Blue, and we're just going to lighten up that color, and we're going to come back in. We're going to do some blending really quick on the blacks. Make them look really nice. Carnage. Oh, I'm excited for you all to get to see him in full glory, because that sculpt was one. Woo! It was fun. We really tested our knowledge of tolerances and how thick we could make, tendrils and plastic and all kinds of nonsense. So definitely a very fun and exciting character that we tried to do justice to give him all the maniacal, sinister life he deserved. Such a great villain character. And I mean, I wouldn't really say favorite character. He's a great villain, though. He's an awesome foil to Spider-Man. Yeah, it's hard to identify with Cletus Cassidy. I did super love him in the Axis storyline event where the villains and the heroes got flipped. That was perhaps one of my most favorite moments in comics, when good guy Carnage sacrifices himself nobly to save everybody from a big old doomsday device. And it's like telling Spider-Man, he's like, make sure they build a fancy statue to me, and it should always be playing Leonard Skinner. It's just an amazing moment where Spider-Man's sitting there being like, I don't know what's happening, but at the same time, you've saved everyone. It was great. I was laughing so hard I had tears. All right. So we're just going to come back through. Again, I'm just kind of layering in some highlights with this lighter blue, and then we'll lighten it up even more. We'll do some really snazzy spot highlights, but nothing too fancy. I'm just kind of doing simple layer highlights. So I'm thinking about where would that light be hitting? So the knuckles, places where I can see the white from the zenith showing through. Just really letting my eyes kind of guide me as I go through stuff. Being a little splotchy. I'm getting a little painterly with it. I'm not worried too much about You know, this is a fun, lighthearted view of Wolverine, so he's probably never going to hit the table, so he can be just a little more zany, a little out of sync with everything else that I do character-wise. I'm going to flip-flop really quick. I'm going to go back to my red. I'm going to grab some, not that one, that's oxide. There we go. I'm going to grab some Inktense Crimson, and I'm going to grab a little bit of Inktense Blue, which is right next to it. I want to use just the tiniest touch of blue. I'm going to use a lot of crimson. It's like I'm not even going to drop it out of the dropper bottle. I'm just going to kind of get the nozzle wet on that blue, and I'm just going to mix it. I'm going to use the tip of my brush that I use to mix things with, and I'm going to pull a little bit out because that blue is super potent, and I don't want purple. I want kind of a deep, but I want a deeper like crimson color. And then I'm going to mix that up with some glazed medium. I'm just going to come through, and we're going to use this to shade our reds. And being as careful as we can around those whites, although you know, we've done our best, but there's definitely been spillover. It's bound to happen, and that's okay. So you can see how that wash is just giving that definition and shade that we want into the dark recesses, and I'm going over the whole thing. This is one of the strengths of that Vallejo airbrush red color over Zenith, is that it does get pink. So especially when you're not looking at it through the camera, it'll look kind of pinkish, almost a salmon color, salmon color. And this, by utilizing this red wash as both a shade, it also kind of acts as a glaze, and it really brings, thanks to that Inktense Crimson, it brings that salmony color back down into a red. So it just pulls everything together and tightens it all back up. So let the techniques kind of work together as you learn them. You know, you'll see things that you don't like, and then you'll be like, oh, but I could do this. And that's been one of the big things we've been hopefully showing and imparting a little bit of knowledge and confidence and some experimentation throughout our year together on these streams. It's kind of giving ideas on things that you can try, things you can do differently, some of the process techniques to get really great results in short amounts of time, or even how to take techniques to the next level and spend a lot of time with them. Certainly done a decent amount of work on several different things. It can be a lot of fun. For example, we'll probably call the wash as good as it gets on this red, but absolutely could go back through, re-highlight that back up, get some nice jolly cheer into it. This is a little deep, but it definitely works for tabletop. We'll let that dry now. We're gonna go back to our blacks. So I'm gonna take that same mix that I was working with. I'm gonna grab some of my favorite color, which we're also gonna use for the white. We're gonna grab this Arctic blue. It's a fantastic blue-white. We're gonna start mixing these two together to create our black highlight. So I'm looking for something that's really gonna start to pop out that definition, those tones. So again, this is just kind of like a layer where I'm looking for tips of the boot, you know, places where that light would hit it, upper edge of the boot, cleaning off around the red where I spill over. Just having a good old time heating things up. Kind of edging along the top of the belt. I'm just using that brush. Come back in, smooth it out. Now the shoulder pads can be kind of an interesting thing. So I like to do the center, kind of where I think the light would hit, and then I'll use that brush and I'll blend everything out. Come back over to the side, just a little bit more paint. And the more you blend with that wet brush, the more control you can kind of have, and you can push all the paint to the center and blend it out towards there. You can pull it down. You have a lot of control over how those blends work, but it's going to help make that transition look really nice and smooth. So again, just kind of come over. No, it's definitely full of presents. His sack is full of presents. This isn't recycling day, Logan. This is Yuletide cheer, Logan. He's got a whole bunch of good mutants to, you know, make happy. He's got to bring cheer and joy to everyone. Right now, he's probably defending those presents from the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants who've come in to steal Christmas. That's the scenario right there. That's the story. Sabretooth isn't just picking on him on his birthday. Oh, I'm totally off camera. Apologies. Now he's picking on him for the Christmas party, the X-Men Christmas party. Wolverine finally got to be Santa Claus. He's been asking for years. He's been like, just let me do it. Let me do it, Chuck. Let me do it, Chuck. Just let me do it. I can do it. I don't know what happened there. He got all death metal-y. They finally let him, and then of course Sabretooth shows up, like waylays him. The party's still happening. They're like, where's Logan? He's not gonna make it. He's got to save Christmas. That's the episode. That's the game I'm gonna go play right after this. It's gonna be a very Wolvie Christmas. It's gonna be him trying to deliver presents to all the good mutants at the Xavier Institute for gifted students. Oh, we're making a mess. There we go. This is a good lesson right now on what not to do, viewers. My lovely stream watchers out there. Don't overwork your blends. I'm getting a little carried away. So we're going to fix it, and then we're going to leave it. We're going to let it dry. It's obviously that point where working with wet paints, be a little careful. I'll probably spend a little bit too much time on these blacks, but I find painting black pretty fun. So, I'm going to knock it through, like that. Of course, we'll follow a little bit of Dallas's rule, which is most people aren't going to really look at the feet, so we don't have to spend a ton of time on them. We do a little bit, not a ton. Knock that through. All right. We're just going to do one more really quick kind of super highlight here. And this is going to be almost pure Arctic blue with just a little bit of that abyssal black. You see, it's going to be very punchy. We just want to use this for like our most extreme edges. Like that's right where the light is glinting off of his shiny black boot. Like the belt. Just give it that little in highlight line. That'll help separate it out when we go back and dark line later if we want to. Dark lining, another one of those things that we talk about a lot. Definitely a super huge technique to make all of your stuff look really, really nice. So you can see I'm just taking that like almost pure Arctic blue, and I'm just kind of adding a little bit of what you'd consider like where the fabric is stretchy. And it's a little different on the shoulder pad, so I'm just trying to do some little lines just to give a little bit of that texture. And this, so you can see I got really fat, not what I wanted, not very clean, so I just use that blendy brush to come back in, and I can smooth those back out. Make everything look pretty nice and sharp. So again, kind of come in. And because that shoulder is like pointed right at the sun, the winter sun, as it were. What little there is in the Pacific Northwest at this point. Kind of blend that back out. So we can get that nice little spot of highlight there. Get over here. Do this. These things going on. Really looking forward to everyone joining us next year as we continue to grow and expand. We'll be kicking things off with the Inhumans. So if you're excited to watch us paint the goodest of boys Lockjaw, or, you know, Crystal, one of my favorites of the Inhumans, Medusa, and then of course the ever inspiring Black Bolt, who can never talk because he'd destroy the planet. We're going to be knocking those wonderful characters out in January, getting ready for their release early in 2021, and then of course we'll be moving on to much more exciting, many more other exciting things as well. Like I said, we have a whole slate of super fun content planned. We got some surprises left in store for the start of the year. We will be doing some discussions about the future and where we're going just as a studio, and kind of what to expect in the coming time, and a lot of good stuff. So it's going to be a really fun start of the year. So take the holiday rest up, play some games, get excited. It's going to be great. All right. I'm going to grab some Rainy Day, which is Rainy Gray. I call it Rainy Day. It's called Rainy Gray. So I'm going to grab some Rainy Gray. I'm going to use this as a wash to wash his hair, because we want that like old man Santa hair feel. So we're going to put a little gray in it, and then we're going to come back. We'll highlight it through with some nice white. Whoop. So this is a really great way to do hairs, to just pick the color that you want it to be, or the undertone that you want, and then just let the sculpted detail do the job for you. So we're just going to come through, and again, we're just washing that rainy gray into the hair. And because Marco did all this great hair detail, we can come back through again. We can just do some easy dry brush, pick it back up, and then it's going to feel like some old Santa white hair. And the Zenith Prime is again really useful for this because it allows us to use that lighter white to kind of help define everything and give us that look. So there we go. Got that going on. I'm going to grab a little bit of Vallejo Flesh Wash really quick, because it's all mixed up and ready to go. You can make your own out of plenty of different stuff. We're just going to grab some of that. We'll come into the face. We'll wash it down a little bit, just to give us some extra definition and stuff. I'm just letting this go everywhere. into the mouth and stuff as well, and that's okay. Letting it focus a little bit heavier around the eye sockets. And that will be a nice little cheat so we don't have to worry about painting the pupils so much because we left those white. So we'll still get a little bit of light color there, and as long as they're dark at that scale, most people won't even notice. So if you're like me and you don't particularly love painting eyes or you don't feel comfortable with it yet, this can be a really great cheat, quote unquote, although there's no cheating in painting. There's only decisions that you make and techniques that you use. There we go. Now our Logan has some extra look. We're going to grab that Arctic blue again. We're going to come back in. You know what? We're not going to use Arctic blue this time. We're going to use Mojave white. So we're going to do a little bit of a different white. We're going to go for a bit less of a blue white and more of that Christmassy, you know, that all those pictures I see of Santa Claus suits and stuff. The white fur is kind of minkish. It's got that yellow hue to it. So Mojave white does have more of a yellow hue. So hopefully that will help give us that Christmassy feel. And one of the tricks when you're painting white is to not try to draw, like don't try to paint it in strokes because you'll get streaks. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of taking the brush, I'm loading it up, and I'm letting the paint go where it wants to go by tapping it. So instead of like a long stroke, it's more of like a quick tap. And I'm letting the capillary action from the paint actually pull off the brush. And that way you're kind of cheating your way out of having to worry about streaks forming. This works really well for like pure yellows too. You just have to takes a little bit of practice, but you know, not everything, when people think about painting, they always think about, oh, I got to draw the picture, you know, with the brush. You don't. You can literally just tap, and this is literally just me tapping, and you can see how I've now drawn that line just through some taps. So works really well when you're trying to do like straight lines or things you're not quite comfortable with yet. And again, it's another really great way to avoid streaks from your paint. It takes a little bit longer because obviously overall you're laying the paint down over a smaller area, but its utility and usefulness cannot be overstated. It's a great way to do those smaller details that you struggle with. Instead of worrying about trying to do like one big smooth stroke, you just do a bunch of little controlled taps because your body has a lot easier time with that kind of a shorter movement. You have a lot more control. So I come in here to do the end of that thing, and then of course when I inevitably mess up, I've got my other brush just ready to go. Wipe it away. Grab that other stripe. This is one of those areas where, like, if you're a sub-assembly painter, you could leave the arm off, and that would give you a little bit of an easier access to these side swipes. I typically don't do that. I find it just nicer and easier to paint everything assembled, but there are times where it can pay off, and it depends on what you're trying to do and how clean you're trying to be, and if you're going to a competition, is it going to the table? Is it just for you? Like, what's fun? That's always my litmus test. What is going to give me the most enjoyment for my hobby time? Because that's what it's about for me. It's about just relaxing and having fun. And sometimes fun is agonizing over a 1/2 millimeter space around the eye and getting it just perfect. And sometimes fun is just seeing that character come to life really quick before my eyes seeing an idea that I had this morning for something fun to do for our last stream of the year around the holidays, which was to do a Santa Claus Wolverine. And I just want to get it to a point to where we could be happy to put them on the table. So we're not quite worried with perfection. We're just looking for that happy medium where he's going to look good, and nice, and exciting. And yeah, he'll have his flaws, but who among us doesn't? And the flaws are honestly what make it unique and special to you. Because if you could just replicate the box perfectly, that wouldn't be your paint job. That'd be the box's paint job. Let it be your paint job. Let it be your miniature. Let it be your creation, because that's the whole point of the hobby and what we're doing here together. We're telling our own stories, creating our own teams, putting our mark, a very unique and personal mark on these characters. And man, if that's not just the whole reason that I get up to go to work every day, I don't know what is. Maybe it's the chance to hang out with some really cool people. But there's stripes going on there, looking pretty good. Just kind of come under that shoulder and connect these a little bit better. Dope. Dope. Use this color for the teeth too, so we'll just kind of get in there and just really carefully hit those teeth, the underside of the teeth. Give him that nice little growly smile. Rawr, doesn't he look like Santa? He looks like he's bringing you gifts. Maybe we should have made Wolverine Krampus. That might have been more accurate here. I'm just going to come through, and I'm going to hit those eyes with a little bit of white. And this is where you get really crazy. You can flip them upside down. Dallas can never do this on stream, but I can because I'm not locked into a mic stand. And you see that we went really wide on that, so we're just going to come back through and we'll redefine that pupil with our brush. So like I said at the start, I can't overstate how much confidence you'll gain from that second brush and learning how to control it. So you can just clean up mistakes like that and you can redefine stuff and make it work. All right, we're also going to use this color for the hair. And this is really just going to be kind of like a dry brush. So I'm just going to come in. I'm going to very gently brush over the hair. I'm just trying to pick up the very tippy tops. Dry brushing is such a cool technique on heavily textured surfaces like hair and stuff. I see we missed the ears. We could go back and get the ears. I might just leave the ears not. No one's going to notice. It'll be our little secret. Instead of adding little secret bushes and trees, we'll just not paint certain things that you don't see normally. And we won't tell anyone that they didn't get painted. We'll just be like, they look great. Whoop, a little too heavy. So again, we just blend that out. Pick that up just a little bit more. Get a little more white on the head. A little stronger. This is the thing with dry brushing too, is it's kind of like magic. It doesn't look like anything's happening. You keep doing pass over pass after pass, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, look at all we've accomplished. Kind of like improving a skill. Just keep doing it over and over and over again, and eventually you get better and better and better at it. You never even realize. Okay, let's grab some white. So we're going to grab some pure white. We're just going to come back through and we're going to mix a little bit of that with our Mojave white. And we're going to create a nice little highlight. Whoop. And we're going to use this on the suit really quick. Remember, white is defined by its shadows, so we're not going to use a lot of this. We just need a little bit of it. Kind of bring us back into that white area that we want. I also don't want to lose a lot of that yellow, so just gonna come in a little bit of it, just a little bit. That's all you need. That's all you need. So I gotta figure out that sack. I guess I'll paint the sack red. His sack is red a lot, right? Red will be quick. It'll be too much red. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. It'll be good. It'll be good. We're overthinking it. That's what we're doing. See, this is what you're not supposed to do. Not for something like this. Go with your gut. Go with your gut. All right, Santa. There's Logan Claus. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. Green and white stripes. I have 10 minutes. You know, technically, BK, Josh, and John are all on vacation, so nobody can shut me down today. We could go for as long as we want. This is the last thing for my day. Like, we just rock and roll. If you're with me, I'm with you. Like, I'm here. Let's do it. Okay, let's do the claws really quick. So I'm just going to grab some thrash metal. We're going to use this for the claws. It's going to be great. We can get way too much of it because we always do. Oh, dropper bottles. No control. Come through and those claws. Somebody asked last week on the Angela stream. They were saying, you know, I always heard that you had to paint metallics over like black to make them really sing. And that's, I mean, obviously I don't. I used to always take my time and black out metallic areas, or if I was painting gold, I'd do brown. If you have good metallic paints, and I will say that the scale 75 metallics are really great, you don't need to. You don't need to worry about it. You know, if you're dry brushing metallics on, if you're using that technique, obviously you absolutely have to. But if you're doing like a base coat, wash, highlight kind of thing, which is what I typically do on my metallics, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it at all. Now that said, you can get some really awesome metallic effects by dry brushing, and it's a lot of fun. Again, I love dry brushing. It's one of my favorite techniques. So if you're going to go that route, hit the X buckle here. So if you're going to go that route, you absolutely have to give them a dark undercoat. You got to use black, or I mean black really for steel and brown for gold. Some kind of umber for your golds. But if you're not doing that, like I said, if you got good paints and you know how it works. Now, one of the good things about doing the dark undercoat is that if you've got silver paints that don't necessarily want to cover really well, you can use the black undercoat as kind of a cheat to help. What do I use for? So I typically, and this is going to sound savage, I use my jeans. Wampa Stompa was asking what I use to wipe off my brushes after cleaning. I roll them on my jeans. And whenever you dry your brush, you always want to drag and roll. And that'll keep your point really nice. But I don't care about my pants. They're not, I'm not trying to impress anybody, so it doesn't really matter. So I totally just use my jeans. Now, if you buy nice pants and you want to keep them nice, don't do that. A microfiber cloth works really well. So I would recommend that. That will stop you from getting a lot of fuzzies and stuff from something like a paper towel or things like that. That you can get like a lot of dust and debris. So microfiber cloth is really great. You can throw it in the wash and it's fine. It's also there to clean up your messes. But I use my pant leg. So sorry, but it's my pant leg, so I'll do what I want. I always yell at my kids to get a napkin, and yet here I am, just wiping paint on my pants. I'm a monster. Oh, that's all right, kids. We did it. It's a red sack. Santa's sack is red. Bam. We're going in. Just because the red was there, and simple, simple and easy. Yeah, look at that. Look at that beautiful satiny toy bag. Just ready to go. And then I guess, if I really want to take up the red and green stripe challenge, I could do that. Not on stream. Not today. Not today. All right. I think, with that, we're looking pretty good, and we got 5 minutes left, so let's give him some rosy cheeks and a red nose. So I'm going to use, what am I going to use here? What do I want? I'm going to use a little bit of that Ishtar pink, and I'm going to mix a little bit of that air red in. And so this will hopefully give us kind of that ruddy, I've been out in the cold, or I've been nipping at the bottle a little bit, kind of red rouge feeling. And the big trick here is going to be to make sure that he doesn't look like a clown. So we're going to thin it down pretty good with some water. We keep our other brush. And then I'm just going to come in very carefully. We're going to hit the cheeks. Just kind of like let that color build up. And then we'll use our blending brush to kind of blend it out. So it doesn't look, it's just coming out of nowhere. Do that a couple of times. Blend it out. Come to that other cheek. And thankfully he has really nicely defined cheeks. Kind of just going over the whole cheek. And then I'm coming in with that blending brush and blending it down just a little bit so that we can still see the top. And honestly, the way to probably do this that would look really cool if you were crazy enough or bold enough to make this your worthy competition challenge would be to do the red first and then use a lot of really thin glazes of the top flesh color, and you'd get that ruddiness underneath. So you can see how his cheeks are getting kind of rosy and red. Do that, might even show up a little bit better. Keeping that holly jolly cheek flush. And of course, we got to come in and do the red nose as well. So I'm just going to blend out this side. It's a little dry. Now's where I get quiet. And then we'll come in, we'll do the red nose. And this will keep pretty strong. Because Jack Frost has been nipping at his nose, you know. So we'll barely even blend that out, just kind of up the bridge of the nose. If we take that glare off from the sun, you can see how we've got that pink nose, pink cheeks. Looks like he's been out on his sleigh having the best time of his life. And let's just do one really quick highlight on the claws. So I'm just going to grab some speed metal, which is like this super, super white metal. Grab a little bit of my thrash metal from the huge amounts that I spilled out of the bottle because I have no control. We're just going to come in and do a quick highlight on the claws. That's what makes them Logan claws. So I'm just kind of aiming this towards the tips. Trying to do the edges, using the edge of the brush to get the edges. Come down here to the X logo on this belt buckle. Build that back up. And I think the last thing I do really quick is I'm going to grab some of that abyssal blue. Just a little bit. Just going to go in. I'm going to shade down the inside of the mouth. Just really quick, just give it a little extra dark. There we go. All right, and in 1 hour, we have a very successful Wolverine Santa. Santarine. I don't know. Come up with something here. Anyway, I hope that was fun. I hope you all enjoyed it. That it's put you into that holiday spirit of joy, good cheer, and especially generosity. Everybody needs help this year for sure, whether it's reaching out, letting people know you're there for them, giving them somebody to talk to, just giving them that connection that, hey, I'm thinking of you, all that stuff, and especially people to game with. Thank you all so much for this fantastic year, for being with us, for hanging out, painting, continuing to improve, and have fun with the hobby stream. We love getting to spend the time with all of you, both on social media, on the stream, everything else. We can't wait to show you all the stuff we have planned for next year. Happy holidays to all of my awesome crewmates out there from AMG, both old and new. I can't wait to dive in to next year. You all deserve a great holiday. Everyone stay safe, stay happy, be good to each other, and we will see you in 2021. Till then, to all a good night.